25 minutes now before 6 o'clock, and on the line with us right now, Congressman Matt Cartwright. Congressman, what's going on? Matt, are you there?
Frank, nice to hear your voice.
I heard. Yes.
I'm driving back from Washington right now. I thought I'd give you a call.
Okay, tell us what's happening. What's going on? I heard there was some action today on the small business loan program.
Yeah, we passed something good today. You should know about. It's called the Paycheck Protection Program Flexibility Act, and here's what that was about. There was, we've been hearing from small business owners with concerns about the Paycheck Protection Program. What you can use the money for, what you cannot use the money for, and there was a certain rigidness in rigidity, I guess you'd say, of the PPP program that was making it so that small business people were not able to avail themselves of those loans. So, and here's the thing. The idea is keep money flowing to these companies so that they can keep people on the payroll and, they don't wander off. And, when all of this is behind us, that they can start up much more easily. And the problem is that if the business goes under because they can't pay their mortgage interest or because they can't pay their utilities or other non-payroll expenses, pay their rent, for example. A lot of small businesses don't own the real estate they're in, so they have rent payments. This legislation takes big steps by basically making it more flexible than it is right now. This is a bill, Frank, that passed with good Democrat and Republican support. Everybody likes this because here's the thing. The way the PPP works right now, you have to use 75% of the money for payroll. You can't. Only 25% of these loans could go anywhere else, or else it doesn't work. And here's the problem. If you can't pay your rent, if you get thrown out of your place of business or you can't pay your utilities, you're out of business and you can't employ anybody. So the original bill was admirable. It aimed to benefit employees, but if the business is gone, the employees ain't going to get any benefit.
Matt, you have no idea how important that is. We had a bakery in South Scranton that contacted us one time and said, can you find out if we can use any of the money to buy safety equipment like plexiglass or any of that stuff, because we can't afford that and we want to open. And so that flexibility is much more important than I think people realize. So I appreciate that.
Well, sure. I mean, here's the thing. No two small businesses are alike. Each business has its own quirks and different concerns, and you have to take that into account. And that's why everybody on both sides of the aisle like this. There's more that this does, too. The PPP Flexibility Act also allows forgiveness for expenses beyond the 8 weeks that it now covers. It allows it up to 24 weeks. It extends the rehiring deadline that is there in the current version. It increases, as I said, increases the limitation on non-payroll expenses, and that goes from 25% up to 40%. So you could use as much as 40% of the loan money for those non-payroll expenses that the baker was telling you about that small businesses have to pay. And then it also it extends the whole program. Right now, the PPP is slated to expire on June 30th. Well, of course, we all had high hopes that, coronavirus would be gone by then. But the scientists are telling us don't be so hasty. So this extends the whole program till December 31st. And it also extends loan terms. from 2 up to 5 years. It goes from 2 up to 5 years for the terms of these loans. So a lot more flexibility. And again, the concern is keep the business alive. Yes, we want to pass that through to the employees, but if there's no business there, they're not going to pass anything to employees.
You were actually on the air on Tuesday because we followed your news conference with Representative Madeline Dean and Tomko, and we put sound bites on the air, including you pushing for the HEROES Act. Now, one of the things that people were saying after we played that was they really love the HEROES Act. They think that there's a lot of elements in it, but boy, did we get a pushback on the stimulus for illegal or undocumented aliens, and they said, that's going to kill it, and we need it. Is there any motion on that, any movement on that, Matt?
Yeah, people get all excited. It takes a while to figure out how Congress works, Frank. And you've served as a representative, and the way they cook the sausage, it takes a while to figure it out. Here's how I size that up. That HEROES Act, it contains a number of things that I don't necessarily agree with. I was all excited about it because it includes my bill that would give hazard pay to frontline workers. We're talking about truck drivers and garbage collectors and EMTs and nurses and the people bringing us our groceries. All of these people aren't getting anything now. They're just getting the regular pay, and they are putting themselves in harm's way. And while we're passing all of this stimulus money out into the economy, why would we ever want to leave them out? They're the heroes in this fight. These are the soldiers and the war fighters of this world pandemic that we're in. And so I was very proud when they incorporated my bill into the HEROES Act. So I supported that with full-throated support. But you're right. There's all kinds of little, I call that the Christmas tree effect, Frank. When you have a big bill going through, you know what I'm talking about, big bill going through, and to gain support from members from all over the political spectrum, they add little ornaments, they add all of these little doohickeys on there that people want. And then they pass it that way.
I called it, Matt, I called it bracketing, where you put everything in, and it's shoot far, and then the Senate takes everything out, and then in the end it comes up somewhere in the middle.
Yeah, exactly. And so my advice is, if you're all exercised about that, relax. This is just the normal way things happen, and those things that you worry about being in there, they're going to go away. It's after that conference happens that Frank was talking about, we just the tree gets a good shaking, and those ornaments end up on the floor.
Well, we had Michael Lombardo on from that conference as well, and he was talking about the needs of the small communities, and it really kind of illustrated the help that a lot of people need.
Well, that's the other big thing about the HEROES Act. In addition to the hazard pay for the frontline workers, it also it's bailout money for the states and municipalities. And bailout is not a dirty word. I mean, this is because of the virus. This is because of this worldwide pandemic, and because the economy is contracted so much, so many people are out of work. These states and municipalities are not getting the revenue in that they're used to and that they need to keep providing the services. I mean, they can't come and collect your garbage if they can't pay the people doing it. And the difference between the states and municipalities government on the one hand and the federal government on the other hand is that states and municipalities by law have to balance their budget. So they can't borrow the way the federal government does on the full faith and credit of the United States. They have to stay within their budget. So they would have to let people go. Nobody would be collecting the garbage. They would have to lay off police. I don't know about you, Frank, but I want the police available in case of emergency, and also first responders. That was why we had Mike Lombardo, who's a wonderful Pittston city councilman, a well-respected lawyer, and he's the vice president of the Pittston Regional Emergency, the rescue squad, and so he is extremely knowledgeable, and he was there to say. And I'm sure he told you that unless we take care of the states and municipalities financially, services like that go away.
Yeah, he pointed that out. Matt, be careful driving. I got to go, but I'm glad you called in. I'm glad you're driving home safely, and I'll talk to you again.
Always a pleasure, Frank. Be well.
Thank you, Congressman Matt Cartwright.